KWYO, the Boys Show. Good morning, Wyoming faithful. It's 11 a.m. on a brisk November 12th morning here in Laramie. Jack Sable here to talk some Cowboys football, and we're back in our winning ways. A record of 7-3 after a solid outing against New Mexico, and this coming week we go on the road to face a 0-10 UNLV squad. Safe to say, I think we're going to make this 3 in a row. So let's go ahead and get into last week. On the scoreboard, it'll read 28-21 in the Wyoming-New Mexico game, but we all know what really happened. Outside of some small hiccups on offense, the Pokes had control of the whole game and were on an absolute roll. Brett Smith showed that he had some wheels, which I'm imagining is something he and Mashburn have been working on in fortifying his offense. I honestly think it's great, especially when used near the red zone, because this means that Brett Smith may be in a transitional phase where he's going to become a more balanced type of quarterback and add the option to his repertoire. And I can't wait to see what that will look like next year. Defensively, I think the Pokes are still pretty solid. Most of the Lobos scores came off of turnovers and mistakes that the offense made in the second half. To me, that game never really was out of Wyoming's control, but it was just always out of reach for New Mexico. Either way, a fun game and another win for us, which has now secured a winning season with win number 7. Let's go ahead and jump into some questions. Remember, if you want a chance to have your question featured on air, leave them in the comment section, and I just might answer it here live. First question comes from Danny Webster. He asks, is Mashburn cautioning his players not to take UNLV lightly next week, despite the Rebels' terrible record? That's a great question, and let's talk about this for a bit, because I do think this will be a cakewalk victory and a total warm-up game for San Diego State, our season finale. I highly doubt, however, that Mashburn is going to take any opponent lightly. I do know that Mashburn has said that he wants to continue to display more wrinkles in the offense and that he will be experimenting with new plays throughout the game, and I totally believe that he's going to be taking this game seriously despite that. The question really is, what will he be able to get away with against UNLV? And being that the Rebels are a team that averages less than 10 points a game, I think he's going to have a ton of freedom and no problem at all. Next question comes from the next one. Wow, a repeat question from this guy. Wow. His question: do you think Wyoming will be in the top 25 poll by the end of the season? And if so, at what number? No, they won't. Getting in the top 25 is very difficult when you start off the season so low and you're a 3-loss team in one of the smaller conferences, quote unquote. While Wyoming is having a fantastic season for our measures, nationally, we're not really seen that way. In fact, nationally, I wonder if most teams know we even exist. And look no further than our losses thus far this season. A loss to Air Force, who's top of the division and still unranked. A loss to Texas, who were ranked at the time, but now has fallen off the map completely. And a loss to Boise State, who is currently unranked. All of those teams I just mentioned haven't even received a vote for the top 25 this week, never mind being in it. Wyoming has had a few impressive wins against Fresno State, Nevada, and Colorado State, and those are all teams who are at least 500 or greater. But the rest of the opponents have been bottom feeders. The conference is a bit to blame for that, but next year they will become a 12-team conference when they add Utah State and San Jose State. How much will that help? I'm not sure, but being a 12-team conference, could potentially cause them to rise up and become a power in college football in the years ahead. I think that we won't really see a top 25 Wyoming team until Brett Smith's senior year, which will be Mashburn's 3rd season. Last question from Big Rima. He asks, do you think Mashburn will ever implement the read option if a mobile quarterback comes to Wyoming? Now, I talked about this a little bit earlier, and it just wouldn't shock me if he implemented pieces of the read option right now with Brett Smith. While Brett isn't the most threatening runner ever, he does have some speed, as he showcased last week. So it's reasonable to believe that Mashburn would run that in his offense now. However, if he had a more mobile quarterback, oh yeah, there's just no way he wouldn't run a bit more of the read options. The offense almost begs for it in a way with all the jumbo sets and the blocking schemes he could draw up for it. Wyoming could possibly even be the biggest threat in the Mountain West Conference with a speedy mobile quarterback in this offense. And I think that it's not too far-fetched to believe that in the coming years, he's going to be recruiting that type of a quarterback. So since we're on the subject, let's talk a little bit more about recruiting. There's no commits this week, but Evan Tolbert, the speedster wide receiver from Nevada, who we've highlighted in the past, is now a soft commit. He's expected to make his decision later on this week, and I'm hoping that he ends up here. Mashburn has also taken some interest in some of the bigger recruits out there that has been left to the scrap heap. One of them is the #1 strong safety in the nation. Mashburn has started to recruit Chip Hunter from Ohio, who hasn't received a scholarship offer from any school, although a lot of the Big Ten has had their eyes on him. The big reason for concern that has surrounded Chip is an ACL injury he suffered his junior year in high school. He did play this year and had a stellar season, showing that all his skills are still about him, but his agility has been a major concern. Mashburn will have access to tape of him next week, but from what scouting reports have said, he still favors his right knee and has become slower in terms of reactionary change of direction. Because of this lack of comfort, there's a huge question surrounding this kid, and most are afraid to take a shot at him. But Mashburn plans to meet with him and give him an opportunity possibly to play football here should he check out all right, potentially even promising him a game in his home state every year. Well, UNLV, I hope you're ready, because this one might not be pretty, and I'm sure the Cowboys don't want to ruin your path to imperfection. We'll jab some more at the expense of the Rebels in a bit. 101.2 KWYO, The Boys Show. We'll be right back. And here comes Brett Smith and that Cowboys offense out for their first possession of the day. And I'm more than positive that Mashburn will be very open in his play calling today. The question is, just how open will he be? As Brett Smith moves Lang in motion from the full house formation. A little shovel pass on the screen to Cody Sutton, but doesn't go anywhere as the Blacking couldn't get it together. Only a gain of 1 there, but an interesting design. It'll be 2nd and 9. And a quick test for Wyoming here on 3rd and 14 as Smith goes play action. Quickly throws to his left side as pressure was on him and hits Dominic Ruffron for the first down. A very nice comeback route, and Smith got rid of it when he did, just before he broke off the route. Perfect timing by both of them. 1st and 10 for the Pokes as Brett Smith changes the play call here, and he'll move Riley Lang in motion to the left from that fullback spot to the line of scrimmage. Handoff to Brandon Miller, and a big hole for him as he makes his way forward for about a 10-yard gain. He'll be marked just short of the first down marker. 1st and 15 now for Wyoming after the false start penalty, and they come out in an offset I close formation. Well, not anymore if they put Chris McNeil in motion to the left to kind of spread the field, and Smith takes the snap. He's going to throw underneath for Dominic Ruffron, and he'll kill a little bit of the penalty there. His second reception of the day goes for a gain of 7. Another 3rd down situation for the Cowboys. Shotgun formation here with split backs as Smith takes the snap, steps up, throws a bullet over the middle, and hits Spencer Bruce for the first down. Had to thread that between about 3 defenders. And a huge gain as now they're inside the red zone. And Smith to throw here on 3rd and 7. Gets rid of it very quickly and finds Brandon Miller on a slant pattern for a first down. It'll be 1st and goal, a gain of 8 or 9 on that play. The Cowboys are going to come out in that offset wing formation here in the shotgun as Brett Smith is joined by Miller in the backfield. He's going to fake the handoff and keep it on the read option. Brett Smith scores the touchdown. And it seems like Mashburn wants Brett Smith to become more of a running threat down near the red zone. 2nd game in a row with a rushing score for Brett Smith. What a perfect, methodical drive from the Cowboys. Let's see what UNLV will do on offense. Handoff here to Scruggs, and he goes nowhere fast as he's met by Aaron Schober in the backfield, a loss of 3. And Nick Sherry will pass here on 2nd and 13. Throws to his right, finds Davis for a gain of 6. Can't go very far. Still got 7 yards to go to pick up the first down. UNLV lines up in the shotgun here for 3rd and 7 as Nzacha moves up to the line. Nick Sherry moves the tight end in motion as he's joined by Rondell Scruggs in the backfield. He takes the snap, pressured as he throws. And that gets batted down by Blair Burns. A 3 and out for UNLV, who cannot respond to the methodical drive that Wyoming had. The Cowboys ate up so much clock on that first drive. We're already near the end of the first quarter. And this will probably be the last play here as Miller tumbles his way forward, taking the ball straight up the gut for a gain of 8 yards. It'll be 2nd and 2 when we come back for the second quarter. 3rd and 1, offset I formation. Handoff, Miller straight up the gut. A big hole for him as Riley Lang cleared out a path and led the way as Miller picks up a huge gain for the first down. First down. Pokes are going to come out in the single back formation here. They've got 2 wide, and they move Riley Lang in motion before he takes the snap. And Smith under pressure, and he's down for the sack. After the sack, let's see what the Cowboys do to kind of counter this very aggressive defense of UNLV, who's kind of been all over Brett Smith as they move Spencer Bruce in motion out to the left, out wide. Smith takes the snap. Got the screen set up for Brandon Miller. Set up nicely. Blockers in front of him. And a tackle was made, but not after picking up a huge gain of 13 on that one. Brandon Miller very active in this game thus far. 3rd and 5 for the Pokes. They've been perfect on 3rd downs today. They're 4 for 4 as they come out in another offset wing package here. Do we see Brett Smith running the football again? We'll see. Nope. Takes the snap. He's going to pass here. Over the middle. Finds Spencer Bruce. Short gain, but enough to pick up the first down. 6-yard gain, nearing the red zone. Now 2nd and 11 after the loss of yardage. Brett Smith is in the shotgun formation, split backs. He's joined by Riley Lang and Brandon Miller back there. And Smith will take the snap. Looking, pressure immediately on him. He gets hit hard to the turf. And Brett Smith is not getting up. And bad news, Brett Smith is holding his knee on the sideline after being helped by the trainers to get off the field. In comes Colby Kierkegaard in relief here on 3rd and 19. Throws as he's hit and completes it to Robert Heron for the first down. Almost like the Pokes didn't even miss a step there. 2nd and goal, that offset pistol wing formation again. As Kierkegaard takes the snap, QB power straight to the end zone. Touchdown, Colby Kierkegaard. Make that 2 quarterback runs now with Brett Smith on the sideline. Colby gets his first touchdown of the season. Well, the good news from the sideline is that Brett Smith is doing all right. It's only a bruised knee. Bad news is we don't know how long he'll be out, as he will not come back for the remainder of this game. Sherry's going to throw to the sideline here on 1st and 10. Only gets a gain of 4. Nice tiptoe catch on the sideline, though. 3rd and 7. Cherry's going to hand off. That's the Amari Thompson out there. Apologies, been getting his name wrong all day, but he doesn't go anywhere. Another 3 and out for UNLV. Been really difficult to really get fired up for this game. And that'll do it here for the first half. Halftime score, Wyoming 14, UNLV nothing. While Wyoming has been very methodical and great on their drives, UNLV has been an absolute stinker on offense. We'll see if anything changes after halftime. And the Rebels will get things started here in the second half. It'd be really nice to see them get anything started at this point, as it's 1st and 10 from their own 25. And here comes Amari Thompson, wrestled down after picking up a gain of 2. 2nd and 8. Pistol formation for UNLV as they come out with 2 wide, 2 tight ends. As Sherry looking, pressure's on him, scrambling, throws over the middle. And that one's broken up by Blair Burns. Incomplete pass. Be 3rd and 8 for them now. This has just been one of the most bizarre games I have ever seen. We're in the 3rd quarter. This is now UNLV's 9th offensive snap as Sherry throws up a punt. And Mark Inzacha should have picked that one off, but he'll bat it down for 4th and 8. UNLV will really have to punt now. Kierkegaard, hands off, Brandon Miller, stretch play to the left. They'll pick up a gain of 6. It'll be 3rd and 4 for Wyoming. And while UNLV being inept on offense has been the story of the game thus far, let's not lose sight of the fact that Brett Smith is injured. He has the bruised knee. The trainers are saying it's going to take a few weeks. He may possibly be out for the bowl game, which means that Colby Kierkegaard, who's done a great job in relief thus far, as he completes a pass here to Robert Heron for the first down. Looks like it was intended for Riley Lang and somehow snuck back there. Colby Kierkegaard is going to play the closer against San Diego State, and now very well may finish off the season at the bowl game. It's got to be weird that Brett Smith got us to this point, and now Colby's going to be the one to lead the rest of the season. Kierkegaard surveying, and not for long. He's looking at the dirt now. A huge sack by UNLV pushes us back, possibly out of field goal range, and it's 3rd and 17 now for the Pokes. 7 for 8 on 3rd down conversions today. Longest one was of 19 yards when Kierkegaard stepped in. He needs 17 here, and that is not going to do it. Into double coverage, fortunately, was not picked off. And it's going to be decision time for Coach Mashburn. And they are going to kick this one from 50 yards, no win. Daniel Sullivan, I'll place a bet on him. Sure, we're here in Las Vegas. Snap down, kick is up, and that is G-O-O-D, good! 17-0 now for the Pokes. And Cherry takes the snap. Let's see if UNLV can finally get something going here. And he's just going to loft this one out of bounds. Not sure who that was intended for. 2nd and 10 for the Rebels. We just went to go look this up. UNLV's head coach Bobby Hauck is currently in his 3rd year here. In his tenure here at UNLV, his career record, 4-31. And he's currently 0-10 this season, looking for 0-11 after that incomplete pass. 3rd and 10 now for the Rebels. Sherry from the pistol here on 3rd and 10. Will they finally get a conversion? Throws it out short to Phillips, his tight end on the right side, and only picks up a gain of 2. 4th and 8, and that makes the total yardage for the Rebels today 12. UNLV may very well be the worst college team in the nation, and that's a shame because they're holding down what could be a very prestigious Mountain West Conference. Blair Burns a return from his own 30-yard line. He's going to break this out to the right side. He's got the speed. Tons of real estate over on the right side. Nearing the 20-yard line. Spins back in. And finally is brought down near the 20-yard line of the Rebels. Finally some excitement when the Rebels have the ball in their hands. A 46-yard return. Kierkegaard from the pistol. Ooh, throws very quickly. And it's Dominic Ruffron on a quick slant pattern. Looks like a gain of 9 there. It'll be 2nd and 1 now for the Pokes. Looks like Wyoming's going to come out in the I formation here for 2nd and 1. 2 wide, 1 tight end. As Miller takes the handoff and busts it straight up the gut for what looks like a 4-yard gain. Good enough for a first down, but a pretty busy day for Brandon thus far. Kierkegaard. Handoff. Brandon Miller. Blockers in front of him as he slashes his way through to the end zone. Touchdown, Pokes. Brandon Miller finally gets his score after all his hard work today. UNLV down 23-0. I don't know how difficult it is to get into UNLV academically, but I imagine it's probably much easier to make this football roster. UNLV has been absolutely terrible today, and their struggles continue. A drop pass over the middle. 2nd and 10 for UNLV. Pistol formation with 3 wide as Sherry drops back. Pressure's on him, and he goes down. Justin Bernthaler on a sack. They have just been abysmal to watch. 3rd and 17. Yeah, good luck with that one, UNLV. Pressure bearing down on Sherry. Finally gets rid of this one, and he actually hits a man. 20-yard gain. It's enough for a first down. That's Eric Johnson, who finally gets UNLV moving. Well, at least they offered something here. Time winds down, and that's the end of the 3rd quarter. Thank God this game is finally almost on its way out. Wyoming 24, UNLV nothing. Now the question is, can the Rebels actually get past midfield and score? 3rd down for Nick Sherry. He needs 5 yards to convert here. I have no clue how Jake Phillips caught that ball. Ghali Muhammad was in perfect position for the interception. He just looks like he misplayed it. They pick up the first. Well, they finally got past midfield. Let's see what else Nick Sherry wants to do here on this drive. 2nd and 4. He's going to throw to his right. That one is picked off. Where Burns puts an end to any dream he had of scoring. 1st and 15 for the Pokes after the delay of game penalty. Took a little too long to get the play call in. They're going to come out in the pistol full house formation as Kierkegaard takes the snap. Fires to his right. Got Brandon Miller wide open, streaking down the sidelines. Gets past the first down marker. Makes up for the penalty on a 22-yard gain. 3rd and 6 for the Cowboys. Conversion here pretty much puts this game away. Kierkegaard stepping up, looking, throws over the middle. Scott Tedderiston drags his way forward for the first down. You can pretty much put a fork in them. Them Rebels are done. And we can finally put this game to rest here at Sam Boyd Stadium in Las Vegas. The victory came at the cost of Brett Smith. We don't know if he'll be back in time for the bowl game, but this is for certain. Final score here, Wyoming 24, UNLV nothing, and an absolute domination and demolishing of the Rebels. Player of the Game award goes to Brandon Miller, who put up 100+ total yards on offense. Great effort by him. I'm Jack Sable. You know where to find me on Mondays. Please leave your questions, and I'll see you then.